Have you ever wondered why MySpace, once the undisputed king of social media, just vanished? It had millions of users, a powerful brand, and seemed untouchable. Most people blame Facebook, but that's only half the story. The truth is much darker. MySpace wasn't just beaten by a competitor, it collapsed from the inside. If you're ready to understand how ego and a broken culture can silently kill a company, comment below. I want to know the truth. And make sure you subscribe, because our next episode will dive into another story of a dominant company destroyed by its own internal dysfunction. In the early 2000s, MySpace was an absolute cultural phenomenon. Teenagers, bands, bloggers, everyone had to have a MySpace page. Its growth was explosive, a true rocket ship. But that kind of early success can be a dangerous trap. Inside MySpace, the leadership developed a "we know best" mentality. They became so confident in their own platform and massive user base that they started to ignore critical feedback from the very people who made them successful. What did users want? It was simple, really. They wanted cleaner interfaces. They wanted faster loading times, and they desperately wanted better tools to manage their privacy and content. But the executives had their own vision. They were focused on a flashy, entertainment-heavy layout, believing that their sheer popularity would make people tolerate the usability problems. This is a classic battle, ego versus data. When you're blinded by your past success, you stop seeing the reality of the present. MySpace's leadership genuinely believed that being culturally relevant was enough to keep them on top. Meanwhile, a small, nimble competitor named Facebook was doing the exact opposite. They were obsessed with simplicity, speed, and the core user experience. They listened to their users. They made small, constant improvements. They empowered people instead of forcing a pre-packaged vision on them. Inside MySpace, the culture was all wrong. It rewarded boldness and internal popularity, not humility or being responsive to users. Engineers and product teams who tried to suggest changes that went against the leadership's grand vision were often shut down. There was creativity, sure, but it was suffocated by ego instead of being supported by it. The effect wasn't immediate, but it was lethal. It was like a slow poison. Users started quietly migrating to platforms that actually listened and responded to their needs. MySpace's cultural arrogance eroded loyalty faster than any competitor ever could. Then, in 2005, something happened that looked like a massive win. News Corporation, the parent company of Fox, acquired MySpace for a staggering $580 million. On the surface, it was a triumph, a validation of everything they had built. But this acquisition turned out to be a curse in disguise. Suddenly, the freewheeling, agile culture of a startup collided head-on with the slow, grinding gears of a massive corporation. Decisions that used to take hours now required endless meetings and layers of approval. Innovation slowed to a crawl. Promising new features were delayed indefinitely. The leadership's focus shifted from long-term user happiness to short-term revenue and advertising metrics. Think of it like this. The incredible speed that allowed MySpace to capture trends and grow organically was replaced by bureaucracy and corporate mandates. The very features that could have kept users happy and loyal were stuck in development hell, and their agile competitors seized the opportunity. For example, MySpace's customization tools, once a key feature, became overwhelming and buggy. The music and entertainment integrations, while profitable, cluttered the entire user experience, making the site a pain to navigate. And most critically, they were painfully slow to adapt to mobile. Just as smartphones were about to change the world, the corporate culture of control completely stifled creativity. Startups thrive on making fast decisions and taking calculated risks. Large corporations thrive on process, compliance, and predictable outcomes. MySpace became trapped in the middle, unable to satisfy its users or even align its own internal teams. Employee frustration skyrocketed, morale plummeted. The informal, creative environment that had fueled MySpace's incredible rise was systematically dismantled by the sheer weight of corporate oversight. So, what are the big lessons we can pull from the ashes of MySpace? First and foremost, ego kills responsiveness. Confidence is essential for any leader, but the moment you assume you know best, you stop listening. You stop listening to your users, you stop looking at the data, and you ignore the invaluable feedback from your own team on the ground. Second, a corporate acquisition can be a death sentence for innovation if it's not handled carefully. Startups are fast because they can act without being paralyzed by hierarchy. When you introduce layers upon layers of approval, you can grind growth to a halt. And finally, the most important lesson: culture is invisible, but it can be lethal. A company's internal culture determines how ideas are shared, how decisions get made, and how problems are solved. A toxic culture or misaligned incentives can absolutely destroy a company from within, no matter how successful it seems on the outside. For anyone running a startup or managing a team, the message from MySpace is crystal clear: stay humble. Listen to your users religiously, and protect your company's agility at all costs. Don't ever let ego dictate your strategy. Even in a huge organization, leaders have to find that delicate balance between control and creative freedom. Because overbearing oversight and a fear of failure will kill innovation every single time. MySpace's decline wasn't a single dramatic event. It wasn't one bad day. It was a slow, painful erosion, fueled by a toxic combination of leadership arrogance, a stubborn resistance to user feedback, and the suffocating bureaucracy that came with its acquisition. The culture rewarded all the wrong things: popularity over product excellence. The platform lost its cultural crown not because Facebook had better colors or a cooler logo, but because Facebook simply didn't make the same internal mistakes. Facebook built a culture of listening, speed, and an obsessive focus on the product. MySpace became the ultimate cautionary tale. Ego and a broken culture can destroy even the biggest and brightest opportunities. As you go on to manage your own teams, your projects, or even just your own career, remember this: success is incredibly fragile. Protect your culture, respect feedback, and make sure that creativity is empowered, not crushed by hierarchy or ego. If this story has changed how you think about leadership, culture, and decision-making, do a few things for me. First, comment below with "I want to know the truth," and share your own thoughts on leadership ego. Second, share this video with your colleagues, your boss, or anyone managing a team. And finally, subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the rise and fall of great companies. Remember, no brand, no market share, and no amount of revenue can protect a company from itself. The real threats are almost always invisible: the culture, the leadership, and the thousands of small choices made every single day. Thanks for watching.